The Keystone. One July day after I was grown, I stopped at the fruit stand by the railroad track in Baxley to buy tangerines. "Are these grapes good?" I inquired of the fruit stand owner, a beefy, red-faced man who planted greens and onions on the strip of the curb. "Good," he said. "In fact, I just fed some to my turtle, trying to get him to eat." "Turtle? What kind?" "Go look in that wagon yonder," he said. Inside the red metal wagon, with foot-high sides, used for hauling produce, was a huge gopher tortoise. I didn't recognize it immediately because it had been recently spray-painted gold and silver, gold on its carapace and silver on the finely notched head. It was drooling profusely from the nose and mouth, scrambling relentlessly from side to side in the 4-foot wagon. An intense midday sun beat down on it. It looked like a circus animal painted like that. No telling how old it was, 15, 20 years old, and because it was an elder in terms of gopher tortoises, its predicament seemed even more an abomination. "Who painted it?" I asked the peddler. "I did." "When?" I asked. "I just did it," he said. "I bought paint for my tennis shoes and decided to paint him too." "How long have you had him?" "Since yesterday." "Where'd you get him?" "Right there." He pointed toward Main Street. "I saw a van stop in the middle of the street and put a package on that strip of ground beside the railroad track. I thought it might be a bomb or something, somebody trying to blow up a train, and with me right there they'd blow me up too, so I went over to see what they put out, and it was this turtle." "It's a gopher tortoise," I said. "Yeah, gopher." "Has he been eating?" I could tell it was a he because his plastron under the shell curved inward. "No," he said. "He's going to die out in the sun. They'll go into their holes when it's this hot out. He don't have a burrow." "You know, this is an endangered species, and you could get in a fair amount of trouble having one in your possession," I said. "I'll take him and go find a piece of land with burrows to put him on." "No, I want to keep him a while," he replied. "You might have to pay a fine if the wildlife officer comes by." "Wildlife officer? He won't do anything. He's a friend of mine," he said. "He's a friend of mine, too." "I'm going to let him go, but I want to show him a little first." I wanted to take a picture of the spectacle, and I wanted to walk to the truck for the camera. It was out of film. "I want a picture of it," I said. "I'll be right back." When I got back from Winn-Dixie 2 blocks away, the gopher tortoise was still prowling across the hot trailer, drooling steadily. Gopher tortoises, I knew, are prone to a disease of the upper respiratory tract, which they spread among themselves by nose-to-nose contact, and which is taking a severe toll on some populations. The disease appears to be worse where tortoises are concentrated. Perhaps this tortoise was already infected, or more aptly, the atoms of paint had infected his respiratory system and the toxins would kill him before the heat did, or before he starved. Either way, what was happening to him was cruel, even if he had been saved from the highway. I tried again to persuade the fruit seller to let me relocate him to the wild. "No, I want to show him off for a day or two, and then I'll let him go." I drove to the first phone I could find and called my father, who was home. I told him about the tortoise. I said I was minutes away from calling the sheriff, the wildlife officer, or whomever else I could find who might be sympathetic. I'd call Washington if I had to. "Hold off on that," he said. "I'll go see what I can do." The fruit seller was a friend of his, and at Daddy's urging he agreed to release the tortoise at 6 p.m., still some hours away. Daddy called me right back. Because I couldn't locate the wildlife officer, that was what happened. Daddy carried the circus tortoise to the forest he owns. He brought a shovel with him, dug the tortoise a burrow 2 feet long, and deposited it in its new hole. There it crouched as long as Daddy watched, but the next day, when he returned to check on it, it had not deepened its man-made hole, but had moved on to make a new life for itself. Of plants and animals native to the longleaf pine barren, the gopher tortoise may be the most crucial. In the same way the keystone or upper central stone in its arch is thought to be the most important in holding other stones in place, the tortoise is central in holding the ecosystem together. An ancient tortoise of great tolerance, it lives in a burrow in sandhills, flatwoods, and other upland habitat, sharing its hole with more than 300 species of vertebrates and arthropods. Among these commensals meaning organisms that live in close association, one benefited by the relationship and the other, in this case the tortoise, unaffected, are the eastern diamondback rattlesnake, gopher frog, opossum, rabbit, Florida mouse, skunk, armadillo, lizard, and gopher cricket. Three kinds of scarab beetles that are candidates for federal listing use tortoise burrows, as do Tenede moths, whose larvae feed on the tortoise's fecal pellets, as well as decaying plant material. Tortoise burrows provide refuges from cold, heat, dryness, and predators, and are especially important during periodic forest fires, when the tortoise and its house guests escape to the hole in the ground and wait the inferno's passing. Even flush quail run into them. A gopher tortoise can live up to 50 years, although they take a long time to mature. Females reach adulthood at 10 to 15 years of age. At the northern end of the range, South Georgia, they may require as much as 21 years. Mature, they weigh about as many pounds as they are old, and the diameter of the shell maxes out at 12 or 13 inches. Gopher tortoises feed on low-growing, sun-loving plants like wiregrass, broadleaf grasses, and legumes. They eat prickly pear cactus, blackberries, pawpaw, saw palmetto berries, and other fruits in season. Besides unsnarled and open vegetation, gopher tortoises require open, sunny spots for laying eggs and dry, sandy soil for digging, since the burrows can be up to 40 feet in length and 10 feet deep. The record burrow was 47.5 feet long. The life of a gopher tortoise revolves around its burrow, although it can occupy more than one. Males use an average of 4 to 9 burrows, while females use only 2 to 4. Their homes, typically 8 or 10 feet below the surface of the ground, are long, straight, and unbranched. The burrow opening corresponds to the size of their shells. The burrow is as wide as the length of the shell, so the tortoise can turn around at any point, and slopes gently downward, usually with a turn. It is too dark and narrow to see far inside the burrow. An apron of weedless sand, marked by the tracks of animals and the drag of tortoise plastron, hems the opening of most burrows. Tortoises mate in the spring after elaborate courtships that involve visits by head-bobbing males and female burrows. Involve visits by head-bobbing males to female burrows. The female decides when she's interested. Several weeks after mating, female tortoises deposit 3 to 15 eggs in the sand mounds in front of their burrows or some other nearby sand flat. Incubation depends on climate and varies from 70 to 100 days up the length of the tortoise range. Usually the female lays 1 clutch per year, but often raccoons, foxes, armadillos, skunks, and fire ants raid the eggs so that only 1 nest in 10 years survives. After hatching, the young tortoises either join their mother in her burrow or dig their own small version nearby. Many are eaten by predators until they get too big to be swallowed, at which time their enemies are few: humans, dogs, raccoons. Their ancestors were one of at least 23 species of land tortoises that originated in western North America some 60 million years ago. Along with scrub jays and burrowing owls, they were part of the savanna fauna that migrated to the southeast. Of 4 species of land tortoises remaining in North America, gopher tortoises are unique in their occurrence east of the Mississippi River. Some people, because of the inhospitable climate, refer to gopher tortoise habitat as the southeastern desert. During winter, tortoises hibernate, although on warm afternoons they trudge to the surface to sun on the patios of their burrows. During warmer months, they stay underground during the heat of the day, coming out at dawn and dusk to feed. The gopher tortoise has been broadsided by the absence of regenerative burning in pine forests. Because it relies on herbaceous plants for growth, it is confounded by dense understory vegetation, gallberry, blackberry brambles, sumac, turkey oak, which take over in the absence of fire. Food for tortoises becomes scarce. Because slash and loblolly pines cannot tolerate fire, not only do they collapse food supplies, but the dense canopies that accompany pine monocultures whittle down sunny spots female tortoises need for nesting. Fire is vital in maintaining native ecosystems, most commonly longleaf pine sandhills where gopher tortoises live. Until it became protected by Georgia in 1977 and by Florida in 1988, the tortoise was hunted openly for food. It was a reliable source of meat during the Depression, thus the reference Hoover chicken. In 1989, the gopher tortoise was designated the state reptile of Georgia and has been listed as a threatened species by the state since 1992. Logging, development, and conversion to agricultural lands also have spelled its doom by destroying and fragmenting natural landscapes. Tortoises have been called the most relocated reptile in America since developers often covet lands they inhabit. Tortoises are killed crossing highways or buried alive by heavy machinery, although studies have found tortoises able to dig out of burrows collapsed by tractors, even in soil with a high clay content. A tortoise shares its humble dwelling with over 300 species of fauna and is increasingly homeless. Many of these 300 may be doomed along with the gopher tortoise if we continue to wipe out its domain.